What's going on, traders? Hope everybody's having a great Thursday. It is July 27th, and we'll be looking at the S&P 500, the Spider ETF, going over daily plan for tomorrow, last day of the week. Of course, lots of volatility today in the markets. But before we get into our daily plan and some analysis, a reminder that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and in no way is financial advice. All right, so that being said, big news today out of the Nikkei that the Bank of Japan would be addressing some new potential policies here on Friday, tweaking their yield curve control policy that would potentially loosen the cap on longer dated government bond yields. And this would this change would potentially allow the yields on that 10-year Japanese government bond to trade above its cap of 0.5%. Now, if you want more information about the news that had come out today, that really had the market show us some aggressive selling, just Google it. You can find many articles out there right now going over that more in depth. But that's really not the point of this video. We'll be looking at some levels for tomorrow and just some broader picture stuff as we close out the week. So as always, we're going to start off here with the daily chart. And, so far, these rising wedges have not really been playing out. It's been tough, obviously, for the bears recently, but I thought I would throw it up here as now we finally are starting to see some selling. We've been talking about the potential weakness as far as the seasonality trade is concerned coming into August, and of course it's impossible to directly pick a top. But we did come right into this next big level of supply liquidity here. And then we did start to see the selling. Now, it's anybody's guess whether the selling would have been as strong without that news today from the Nikkei regarding the Bank of Japan. But nonetheless, we'll follow price action and our levels, and then trade accordingly. So we do have this rising wedge potentially setting up, but there's really no confirmation on this until we do in fact break this trend line here, and really 451 would have to really give way, 450 really for that extra confirmation to see even more selling to come into the markets, and potentially we get that 444 target that I have been talking about here for the last week and a half or so. But first stop is definitely going to be that 450 to see if it defends, obviously, and as well as this trend line. So we'll see how that plays out. But we'll get a little bit more depth into the today's price action here in a little bit until we after we go over some more of our macro charts. Now, we were talking about our overbought, oversold indicator here. Momo was showing some weakness, then showed a little bit of strength. Now we're back to the weakness here, so interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. And you can really see the aggressive selling coming in on the daily candle. Volume was pretty strong today as well, well over the 30-day trading average. And the ratio to buyers and sellers here, 88% sellers today on this daily candle. So not much news from the bulls, as many of them, especially the late longs, probably got stopped out of some positions today. The markets did close below the daily 9-period moving average. The EMA is sitting here at 452. 52, and we did close just barely below that, and markets right now are still trading below that here in the late evening hours. So we'll see how this 451.30 holds up. 451 and 450 as tomorrow progresses. We could see something like a maybe a 25% candle retracement, maybe even a 50. Maybe we come back up and retest that fabled 455 again, and then come back down. That would probably be a pretty strong bounce, but we'll be on watch for some potential bounce tomorrow, and then maybe we start to slowly head back lower once again. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over on this chart, but wanted to point out this rising wedge. I'm sure many people have been putting in this rising wedge for a while here and keep getting stopped out, but I thought I'd throw it up there just to have it in the back of our minds, as it certainly is a potentiality to play out. But of course, no confirmation until we actually see some breaks here and some closes under this trend line. All right, so the other thing I want to go over is let's look at, let's just take a quick peek here on our one of our macro charts that we've been watching. This trend line, of course, we were watching, and we were talking in yesterday's plan a little bit about the potentiality of some distribution happening here. We kept trying to break higher, couldn't break higher, and today we did break higher. We looked above and failed back below and back right into the bottom of the range here. So interesting price action. And again, it's really anybody's guess whether the sell would have been so aggressive without that news today. But markets may have been just looking for a reason to really give up the give up the bid today and just keep coming down and basically retracing the entire move that we had done today and then some. So I do believe futures were up at, I think it was 30 points in the morning, and then they were down 25 points at the end, towards the end of the day. So huge moves in the market and pretty wild day. So the other thing I wanted to point out, and it's when I always talk about the the importance of the macro. You can see here when we go into our, now where is it? I think this is it. Okay. You can see here when we did actually finally start to slow down with the selling, where we came right into was right into our first. Now I had just recently put this in earlier tonight, but this was our last key bull pivot, and that's exactly where we came into, and we started finding some support. Nice confluence here with this trend line. This one was around 452.50, and the lows here today was 451.55. So we just clipped this area and came back above and broke this area and did a little look below and failed, recaptured. But interesting, right how, there's right where we stopped, right at our pivot. So I just wanted to point that out, and I thought that was pretty neat. All right, so let's go into what we're looking for in tomorrow. And, since we're pretty much back where we started, a lot of the levels again are going to be or should be very familiar if you've been following along with me and these videos. So let's just go into the 30-minute candles really quickly. Okay, now we were talking about some of those upper, and it's a real shame, to be honest with you. We broke back above, the swing high here at 457. That's what we needed to get over. I was posting on Twitter as far as futures were concerned that if we showed some acceptance over 46.10, it was likely going to lead us to 46.30, and we did in fact get that, and I think we got even a little bit higher. I think the high today, 46.34 and a half, before we started seeing some selling, and right here around right around 12:30, 1 o'clock is really when that news hit the wire, as you can see, the sell reaction here. But we were talking about and looking at these upper targets, and they all got hit. It was really, like I was saying before, it was a real shame that we hit them all in damn pre-market. And we came real close, so close, within 50 cents of our 460 target, almost there. Really tagged 458 basically, and then we just started to roll over. I took a long trade. I waited. I took a first long trade as we came back down into these highs right around 457. Took this up here, got most out, but then the news hit and I got stopped out a decent part of my position. I tried another long when we came into this 25% quadrant here. Obviously, that did not work out for me. And then I pretty much just sat it out from there, as I really tried to give it all the time I could, and had to get out literally when we broke under the 455. I had to abandon ship, but took a decent beating today. But I have to say I did. I think I personally, I don't like how I waited for the 455. I really tried to give it every opportunity possible. It took a little bit more heat than I would have liked, but that's okay. Obviously position sizing is what it comes down to. That's going to be able to save you as far as that's concerned. But regardless, pretty nice day for the Bears. And as you can see, we ran the entire range again, all the way back down, and really taking out this low here. Once we took out this swing low, we got a real decent sell reaction down and almost touched that next balance area right here, right around 451, 451.30, very close. And we pretty much tagged, let me zoom out here and you can see this one. And this was that, I know this is 45.80 here on futures. And we tagged this key area as well, but it did not hold. Was recaptured, but did not hold. I think this came down to like the 45.70s, if I remember correctly. But regardless, we are putting in a bit of a bounce now, coming back to retest the back part of this balance zone. And we will see if the bulls are able to recapture and get back over 453.75 area. If they can do that and confirm, it might open the door to some longs back into 455, 454.83. Potential short area there. Certainly, that could be a scenario where we rally up here and then we hit that short, and then it comes back and rolls back over. Of course, you're going to, if you hit that short there at 455, going to be trimming some profits here down at the bottom part of the range, and then with the smaller amount of your runners, see if you can't get back down to 452. And God, if we break the 451, then we're probably again going to be looking down towards that 450 area. As far as if we were just looking at the pure shorts and this already rejects and we wake up, you have some possible trades if we do push back up to the top of this range. So 451, 452, 451, we'll call it basically to 452. And a whole dollar range could potentially be an area that a short trade could work if we do break below. Say we wake up for whatever reason, the market's at 450, we come up and back test the top of the range here, anywhere in this area, could be a potential short to make that move back towards the lows and then potentially break under and come down to 458 and 459, we'll call it, and 458.50. And you know the drill. If we get over 455 confirmed, look for at least, probably going to need to see at least 30 minutes holding over that. If the trade does not present itself here, but confirming over that level, and then it's the same old song and dance, trying to get back up to the upper part of the range here at 456, 456.45, and then back over that, we're looking again for that 457 and so on, and these levels that you can see here, 457.50. 457.80. So pretty straightforward there. Familiar areas we've been trading in. So let's be careful. It is the end of the week. And although today was a bit of a disappointment for the Bulls with that news. You know, that's the nature of the beast. But bigger picture, Bulls are still in control. But that doesn't mean, of course, that there can't be those short opportunities that we can still take advantage of. And really, you know, even this trade confirming over here is a little bit higher risk for the long. Really got to see that 455 recapture to have, you know, a real more, you know, more confidence in that long trade. But there are opportunities, you know, if we do recapture and just start to hold outside this, you know, this bottom quadrant. But it certainly is a bit more risky to do that. But you can see here that when we did pop back up, we came right into this 458.51, tried to break over, couldn't break over, and then they released you know, gave us the old toilet bowl flush there. So, all right, traders, trade smart tomorrow. Be safe. If you had a red day, I did. Just regroup. You know, it's Friday, so it could potentially be a lower edge day. Huge volatility in the markets, obviously, as I was going over before. So there's a chance we see some tricky and more complex price action end of the week, almost end of the month. So just be a little bit cautious as far as that's concerned. I guess one other thing that I do want to mention, it's pretty close to where we are, but keep an eye on the 450. The 452.50. You know, if that gets recaptured, I think that would be a decent sign for the Bulls. Oh, I guess it's not. Actually, it looks like we are over that, but it's not. Yeah, we are back over, but it's not. It's not calculating um, because we're closed, and that's weird. It should. Yeah, I guess because it only goes by. So we actually have recaptured the daily nine right now in the evening session hours. So that's pretty good. But let's see what happens here as this is coming into this area. This looks like it could potentially reject, but we'll see what happens. So, all right, guys, trade smart, trade safe, and take care.